through your minds.
Welcome to Sonic Bytes, the freewheeling conversation and interview series for the eclectic music lover. This week, we're discussing one of the greatest albums of the 1970s, and probably of all time, Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. From our own personal experiences with the record, to trying to guess how long the impact of the songs and the record might last, if not forever. We also play a fun game of This or Stat, where we pit some artists against each other and try to guess some weird and impressive statistics from their careers. If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow us on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, or your favorite podcasting platform. And subscribe to the channel Leo Kelly G Music and like the video, as it really goes a long way to supporting the podcast. We hope you enjoy it.
All right.
Cool. How's it going?
Yeah, it's not too bad actually. It's been a nice, good week for music. Got lots of practice and playing in. I'm away to Wales next weekend, so I'm going to get a chance to have a break from working and doing everything, actually do some songwriting, and which I'm really looking forward to, sort of taking a bit of time off and actually doing some inner exploration and things, which would be really nice. I guess. How about you? What have you been up to this week?
Yeah, it's been all right. I've been just noodling around. I've tuned my guitar down to C# standard recently. I've just been messing around with things, just playing standard things, but in that key. It's because I strung my guitar with like the wrong gauge of strings. If you're not familiar with gauges, it's basically how thick your strings are, and that affects the tension on the guitar. And because I didn't actually pay attention to what gauge I was buying, it was kind of making my guitar a bit wonky. So I decided to just, I might just down tune it, sort of. It's quite inspired by Madison Cunningham, and she tunes her Jazzmaster down to C standard, which is pretty rogue. I think tuning down, I normally associate with kind of like more heavier metal music. I think Slipknot sometimes they tune down to like
exactly.
A. But like using that with like clean sounds, and it sort of gives a different sort of vibe to everything you play. It almost makes it feel a bit deeper, almost more introspective for some reason, even though it's just a different key. I always find it sounds like strangely richer. Though I watched this great video on like why Stratocasters, specifically like Fender Strats, they sound better in E flat than they do in E. And it's whether it's just the looseness of the strings or just the fact that like you're playing in a slightly lower key, or like just something. It just resonates more in some way. It's really, really nice. It's kind of like I don't know. It'd be like if you transpose a piano down, like be able to hit the same, like if you were to play in like C, for example, and then transpose down to B flat, like all the licks that you'd hear in C, sort of they sound fresher if you hear them in another key, I guess. But you can still hit them with the same like force, I guess, if that perhaps. And so you can do the same thing, but because you're playing it lower, it just gives a new colors and things to sort of to hear. It's like how they say how D minor is the saddest key, but like why is that? I haven't really completely figured it out yet, but
I think I can't remember who it was that worked it out, but it was all the way back in the 1700s. I think it was basically this guy decided that he knew what all the emotions of all the keys were, and so he wrote them down and sort of published them, and it's been used sort of subconsciously as a reference point for such a long time now that I think it's something you learn, I think. So if you keep hearing certain, it's probably more in the classical world than in the pop world, but like if you hear a certain song, say in D minor, and like it's designed to be a sad song because the person who's composed it knew that was a sad key, etc., etc. And then you hear that, like every time you hear D minor, it's going to sort of
just by association,
it just by association and repetition of hearing it again and again and again. I think you start to believe that that's a sad key. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sad key, but I think it's just it's become so ingrained in a lot of genres of music now that we just believe that that's the case. Like C major is like the childish, innocent key. But at the same time,
Yeah, like,
if you
why is
don't
that,
have,
you know? It's just, but it just
if you don't
feels
have,
that way.
yeah, exactly. Like why? Because but you don't necessarily have if you don't have the sort of the knowledge of pitch to recognize something is in C major, then is it still the same? Like, if you can't hear it in C major, you don't recognize, oh, that's C major, and you play something that is, traditionally in B flat, like if you transpose it, for example, then does it keep the same emotion, or does it become different because you put it in a different key? Like, I guess it's more so with like something like piano, where like if you were to play like a B flat chord and then move up to a C chord, like the fingerings are different. So perhaps because you finger things differently, or you have to move your fingers around to play things differently, the transposition is more significant. Whereas if you're on guitar and you're playing like something in F and you just move it up to G, like you can play exactly the same shapes and everything, and it doesn't change as much. So maybe it's just like coming from music from an instrument where like the key change is significant in terms of what you're mechanically doing, versus when it's not in a different key in another instrument. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I'm curious if a non-musician has. I mean, they probably doesn't really have to care about how things are played on a keyboard or piano as well. How they might think that different things are might feel different in a different key. So, for example, I mean, I assume maybe a lot of Metallica fans might play guitar or some sort of instrument, but they recorded all their songs in E, or in E standard, when they were younger, like in their 20s, and just having like James Hetfield, the lead singer, actually has like a higher range, and nowadays because they're in their 50s, I think late 50s now. But they tune everything down. I think over the years they've just been going like a step lower each time.
Yeah.
And now they're sort of playing those hits in sort of maybe D or even C sharp now. And it's like I'm wondering. I mean, obviously you can notice it if you're aware of that, and things might sound quote quote heavier because they're in a different key. But I'm wondering if someone that isn't aware, they just simply know the fact that it's been tuned down, how that makes them feel about the music, It's like if John Mayer ever started playing things in E flat, I mean, I'm sure there's songs where he's tuned his guitar to E flat in the past, but
he does. Yeah, there's a lot of the live NLAs is recorded in E flat, I think.
Yeah. But if it's like, and I don't know, it's just interesting. But anyway, that's guitar. That's
they're not the only ones actually as well. Like I know that for a fact that Billy Joel, when he performs now, transposes everything down, but on a piano, like he just uses the transpose key and then plays everything in the original fingerings, but then transposed down. And Elton John's the same. So like, it's basically seeing in your 20s versus singing in your 50s. Like it's a completely different beast. And so like if you are singing notes that are extremely high, it makes more sense to transpose it down so you can still get the same performance out, as opposed to having to like change the way you sing it.
Yeah, and is that cheating? Find out on this episode of Sonic Bytes, the podcast.
All right, okay. So we have another game for you guys this week. What is it called? What name have we come up with this week, Johnny?
Well, welcome to the first edition of...
Drum roll, please.
Aptly named This or Stat. I feel like there needs to be some sort of audience applause there. We'll fit some in.
We'll get a drum roll and we'll get some audience applause as well.
Yeah, but basically the rules of the game are we'll each propose two artists to the other person, and we've got a bunch of statistics and facts prepared about those two artists, and basically we need to guess which is which.
Nice and easy. All right, okay.
Yeah,
I have my coin. I'm going to toss it. Heads or tails?
Tails. I think I've said heads all the other times.
It is tails, so you get to choose who goes first.
Okay, I think you should go first.
As in I should ask questions first or answer questions first?
You should ask the questions first.
Okay, all right. So the two artists that I have, I'm going to keep it the same for all 5 questions, are the two titans of the 1980s, Prince and Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow, okay, sure.
So I've got 5 questions for you, and each one you can choose whether it's Prince or Michael Jackson. You ready?
I wasn't expecting that. All right.
All right, okay. So
let's go.
Question number 1. As I said before, both were giants in the music industry, but who had the most top 10 hits, Michael Jackson or Prince?
Are you trying to catch me out in this one, or are you... We said we were going to time this as well, right?
Yep.
Well, I guess
I'll give you all right, okay. I'll give you another 10 seconds.
I mean, obviously, I want to say Michael Jackson, obviously, but let's say I'm going to say Michael Jackson. I'm just going to stick with my gut.
You are, in fact, correct. It was Michael Jackson. He had 13 top 10 hits, whereas Prince only had 5.
Cool.
13 is a ridiculous number of top 10 hits to have, by the way. It's absolutely mental.
One of them.
Okay, question 2 then. You ready?
Sure.
So, obviously, both of them were amazing performers, and they toured heavily throughout their careers. But which out of the two had the highest grossing tour? Michael Jackson or Prince? Just realised. There we go.
Tour. I feel like all of these are just kind of skewed towards Michael Jackson, but I wouldn't be surprised if Prince just toured harder and had less shows. More shows. Prince.
Oh, it was, in fact, Michael Jackson. He grossed $260 million with the Bad Tour versus $30 million, which was Prince's Purple Rain Tour, which is his highest grossing one.
If these are all money questions, I feel like they should all be Michael Jackson.
No. So we're changing it up a little bit now. Okay, so this one is Prince and Michael Jackson were both amazing and iconic singers, but who had the biggest vocal range? Was it Prince or was it Michael Jackson?
Vocal range.
So lowest note to highest note they could possibly sing, including falsetto as well.
You're gonna time me?
Oh yes.
Maybe Prince did go lower. I'm gonna go Prince. Maybe just because I like Prince more.
It was in fact Prince. Yes, he went all the way from an A1, which is, to a C7, which is ridiculous, versus Michael Jackson, which was E flat 2, which is to F sharp 6.
There you go.
So there you go. So Prince had the highest vocal range. Okay. This one's a bit of a strange one, but see if you can get it. So I don't know if you know about this, but they had a massive feud going on in the 80s. So although the feud between the two singers was heated and often physical, they were actually earmarked to sing a duet on a song which made it onto Michael Jackson's Bad album in 1987. But which song was it?
Oh, actually, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what songs are in Bad. I'm gonna say Dirty Diana or something.
Oh, close. It was in fact, it was Bad.
That was Bad, right?
That was supposed to be a duet between Michael Jackson and Prince. But apparently because the first line was like, "Your bud is mine," Michael Jackson was like, "Nah, I'm not doing it." So he went away from it.
There you go.
Okay, and so you're 2 for 4. So the last one's a clinch, see if you get over half or under half. So in 1983, during a James Brown concert, James called up Michael Jackson and then Prince to perform as well. So they both performed, all 3 of them were on stage together. But after the performance, who tried to run over who with their limo?
Oh, geez.
Was it Prince or Michael Jackson?
Yeah, talk about statistics, which is completely not that. I guess it's a 1 or a 0.
Stat.
I'm gonna say Michael Jackson, just because. I mean, it's probably Prince. No, I was thinking about it. I'm sticking with Michael Jackson.
Change your answer, or you sticking with Michael Jackson?
I'm sticking Michael Jackson.
It was actually Prince. He tried to run over Michael Jackson with his limo, apparently, after the performance. They were that unenamored with each other.
How many did I get in the end?
All right, so you had 2 for 5, which is 40%. So if you were shooting threes, that'd be pretty damn good by NBA standards.
Yeah, but it's still 40. No, that's not good, man. I mean, this is just trivia,
my turn.
I guess. All right, welcome to a game of Fleetwood Mac versus Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh my God. Hashtag Fleetwood stats.
Yeah, I feel like there needs to be some sort of weird mashup that comes in right now.
Yeah.
It's like some sort of Fleetwood Mac song over like an Earth, Wind, and Fire.
The 21st night of Set Never Going Back Again.
Yeah, exactly that, right? Cool.
All right, hit me, I'm ready.
Kick things off with something quite simple. Number of studio albums. Was this Fleetwood Mac or was this Earth, Wind, and Fire?
I reckon that's
I'm
got to
gonna
be.
Wait, I gotta time you.
Okay, go on.
We've prepared so well for this. You know?
I know that Fleetwood Mac released a lot of studio albums, like way more than they are commercially known for. But then again, I have no idea about Earth, Wind and Fire, like how many. I know September and I know Boogie Wonderland. So I'm going to go with Fleetwood Mac.
Ding ding ding. And the answer was Earth, Wind and Fire with 21. This is
21.
This is according to Wikipedia, our most trusted source.
How many did Fleetwood Mac bring out?
Fleetwood Mac came very close with 18.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
21 studio albums. It's mental.
Yeah, Earth, Wind and Fire did a lot of stuff. I mean, they even did like things like Christmas albums and all that. Cool.
Of course they did.
All right, next up.
Do you remember the 21st night of December?
You can find it on Spotify.
All right, next question.
Cool. Overall this statistic. So not really questions and more statistics.
Next statistic.
Overall members of the band cumulatively.
Oh my god.
Like not touring.
Yeah. I reckon that's got to be
members.
Earth, Wind and Fire, surely.
And the answer is, it is in fact Earth, Wind and Fire with 47 compared to Fleetwood Mac's 18.
47?
Yeah. I guess they had a massive band and they were all part of it. But I think what was more surprising was that Fleetwood Mac had 18 members. That's not something I really thought.
I know that, like, I know the main
members.
Five, but and I didn't know that, like, I know they don't tour with Lindsey Buckingham anymore because they don't get on with him even less now than they did in the 1970s. But like, I didn't realize it was 18
official members. Yeah, I mean, maybe I just haven't done my research, but I counted it up on the Wikipedia page. All right, cool. Third question: Who had the earlier first debut studio album?
Oh my god!
Fleetwood Mac or Earth, Wind and Fire?
Fleetwood Mac, I reckon, because I know that Rumours was quite late into their career. So,
and the answer is, it is in fact Fleetwood Mac, 1968. Yes. Earth, Wind and Fire was very shortly after, in 1971. Different decade, but
very close. All right, okay.
Fourth statistic. Which top song has more streams on Spotify of theirs? Is it Dreams or is it September? Dreams by Fleetwood Mac or September by Earth, Wind and Fire? Go.
September's at every single wedding ever, and Dreams probably isn't. So I reckon it's got to be September. I reckon. Or is it gonna? Am I completely? Is it a red herring?
Final answer?
Yeah. September.
It is in fact September.
Yes.
685,721 streams at the time that I found a stat, which is probably yesterday.
That's amazing.
Compared to Dreams, which is actually at 424 million.
That's not far back actually.
So,
I always figured like
just 200 million.
just a cool 200 million away.
Cool. And finally, this is a bit of a weird one.
What am I 3 for 4? Okay, I'm doing well.
Yeah, you've already beaten me. This is garbage time now.
Garbage time. Getting padded my stats.
But the last played concert on Setlist FM to date, was it Fleetwood Mac or was it Earth, Wind and Fire? Who played the last concert?
I have no idea. I can't even like reason that out.
They're both touring.
Earth, Wind and Fire. Complete shot in the dark.
It is in fact, it is Earth, Wind and Fire.
No way.
Their last official gig was the 28th of December last year. And Fleetwood Mac, I think Mick Fleetwood did like another random concert this year. But their last official concert, I think, was November 20th, 2019. This is as of August 2020. So
yes.
For the record.
For the record, yeah. Okay, so 4 for 5.
Yeah,
nice.
You've comprehensively beaten me there.
Comprehensively. I mean, I think a lot of your questions were more stat related.
Yeah.
Mine were more this related in some of them.
Basically, you just screwed me over, really. Yeah.
I mean, you got to win any way you can these days, you know. It's a tough world out there.
Got to respect the hustle.
So one of the things that we wanted to talk about this week was, in fact, Rumours by Fleetwood Mac, which is I guess it's one of probably their most recognised album, or most critically acclaimed album. The album they're most sort of well known for.
Yeah, it's a bit not. Yeah, I guess we're not really going into it in terms of like a just reading off their Wikipedia page, but I mean, it is an album that is, I guess, close to a lot of people's hearts. Maybe more to most people than it is to me personally speaking. Like I know it's a great album and I love the songs off of it, but I'm not sure why I'm not calling it like my favorite, like in my top favorite albums of all time. But it doesn't mean that like I dislike the album. Like it's just personally, it's not like yeah, just not in my like go to like. I mean, it might be like a desert island record for a lot of people, but it's interesting. I mean, what's your experience with Rumors in terms of throughout your life?
Rumours is a weird one for me because like I feel like it's an album that I'd heard of before I'd listened to properly. Like every time that Fleetwood Mac is mentioned, it's like, oh, you have to listen to Rumours. Like, oh, Rumours is fantastic, and like it's almost like they're mentioned in the same breath that they're so tied to their seminal album that they're almost, you can't detach them from it. I know obviously they have other songs like Everywhere,
Yeah, which is not on Rumors.
which is not on Rumours, which is, you know, I have a lot of very fond memories playing that song in various capacities. But every time that Fleetwood Mac comes up in conversation, it's like Rumours is very either, you know, precedes it or is very, very close behind. So I first listened to Rumours. It was actually a birthday present from Lizzie J, or Lizzie B, as she's known in the West End. She's currently Tracy Turnblad in Hairspray. Definitely go and watch it if you get a chance.
Has that started yet?
Pardon?
Has that started? Did they ever do a show?
They're starting again
Because of
in
COVID.
September, I think.
Right.
But she gave it to me for my 21st birthday on CD to listen to, and I listened to it many, many times afterwards. And I definitely have my favourites off the album. I think one of my favourite things about the album, for me personally, is kind of like that it's not necessarily. I think with a lot of bands, you have like a lead singer. You know, or like if you have I'm trying to think of like another band that's kind of well known in a similar sort of time in the late 70s. Like
Specifically
sort of,
in the late 70s.
or any band, you know, if you have something like a band that's equally as famous, like Queen, for example, like Freddie Mercury is the lead singer, or like Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, and so on and so forth. Whereas
I mean, I guess
think
the Beatles, maybe. I
the
don't know,
Beatles,
you know,
I guess with the
just-
Beatles as well, where it's not necessarily one singer doing all the work. It's kind of, you don't have a front man and then everyone else. It's very much a band effort. So obviously you have Lindsey Buckingham singing, you have Christine McVie, and you have Stevie Nicks. So like it's really interesting having like a 3-part.
And apparently 14 other people, but who knows?
And 14 other people as well.
Maybe
but
we're
I know
completely
that,
wrong.
But I know that is it John McVie, the bassist, he also sings, and so the fact that you have 4 singing members and playing members of the band, it lends itself
Christine.
to some really sort of interesting harmonies, and sort of the harmony work is something that I really, really find interesting in the band. And sort of like Go Your Own Way, for example, is it's a very, like, harmonically a really, really interesting song. But just the fact that you have these 3-part harmonies sort of like as the lead thing is I find absolutely amazing. Or even in songs like You Make Loving Fun, where they almost play like string parts, where like the harmonies themselves, like instead of having strings, you just have these, like, you know, cascading harmonies, sort of like adding this like sort of warmth and depth to the whole album, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, I think they're just a really tight band as well. Like some of the drum parts on even just Go Your Own Way or Secondhand News, or even like bangers later on the album, on The Chain and stuff like that. I mean, I'm just basically listing off the songs with drums on them, but yeah, they're all interesting parts, I think, musically, but they all came together and served the songs. I think that's the main thing for me. In terms of like the hooks are so strong. And almost transcendently, like even just saying they're strong hooks is a disservice to the quality of the record.
They're iconic in so many ways, aren't they? Even I think it's one of the. No, I can't make that. I can't say that and it'd be true. But so many of even the drum parts are so iconic in so many ways, and I really love like Mick, like the fact that so many of the Mick Fleetwood songs on the of the drum parts, they have like a crash on the second beat, which is really, really strange. Like if you think about Rumours, the way it starts, like dum, ksh, or even on Go Your Own Way as well. Like you sort of have that like da 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 dum dum ksh, like 1 2, and so like there's always a crash on the 2, which like is quite a weird like Mick Fleetwoodism, I guess. That like you don't hear all that often.
Yeah, and I guess like quite versatile music as well. It's not purely folk or rock or pop or anything. You can stick the chain in Guardians of the Galaxy and it just fits right there.
Yeah, exactly. It's really versatile,
yeah,
and I guess also like
it's quite jammy as well at parts. They're just
it's hella jammy.
but it's like you think of the songs, but then there's like crazy outros.
Yeah, exactly. Like what is it? The chain sort of being the big one that like got used. Well, that's another place that gets used as well. Like you have the chain in Guardians of the Galaxy, but it also gets used in Formula One as well.
Yeah,
And the bum ba ba bum ba 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 bum.
Of course,
is the is the Formula One introduction music. So like
that's crazy. And even some of I know that we've tried to play some of the songs before. I think you've tried to play like Never Going Back Again, and you were telling me how
it's such
how difficult that.
I can try and show you if you'd like.
Do you still remember it? It's kind of like it's trickier than it sounds. A lot of the stuff.
It's so much harder than it sounds.
Just from a complete musician's perspective, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, like so, like as a guitar player, like the Lindsey Buckingham stuff is ridiculous. Like it's in it's in F sharp originally. It's tuned down to the drop D, but like the whole time you have this like this thing going like the whole time. So then you have like, and then you have this horrible like 4/3 thing like. If you fancy like sort of 2 days hidden away in your bedroom, like trying to work that out, which is definitely what I did. It's got like really cool and it's just an amazing part that you have that kind of. It's absolutely fantastic guitar playing on. He's such a weird he's such a odd guitar player in so many ways. So that's a really awful rendition of Never Going Back Again by Fleetwood Mac.
I mean, you did it. It's all good.
But like the one that weirds me out more is that because he never plays with a pick. I don't think Lindsey Buckingham. So like so much of his stuff is like it's done like with his fingers. So like what is it on Go Your Own Way. Is like he's got this weird like he sort of like slaps the strings. So it has this kind of like. And the whole song is played like that. Like,
sure.
Loving you is loving you isn't the right thing to do. So it's like literally it's like his hand is just like slapping on the strings the whole time. Yeah. And then, like even in the solo with the whole like like it's literally just him like hammering on the strings.
Sure.
In a really in a way that like it's oddly raw and kind of like visceral the way he just there's a finesse to it because obviously like he's striking the strings really accurately, but like just the motion of his hand is literally just like like clawing away at the strings, which is a really interesting way to play, like for me at least.
Yeah, but then you also have like songs like Dreams where it's just 2 chords the whole way through. And so
exactly.
It's quite a big variety. I think some of the songs on Rumours they kind of take off on a life of their own. Like I can't believe Dreams is the most streamed song off Rumours. But I mean I guess in the streaming age maybe that's different because obviously this album wasn't released in the streaming age or anything. But I feel like things like songs like Go Your Own Way, they're like you don't have to think of them as like an integral part of Rumours. They're sort of their own songs, and they almost take on a life as compared to like on a concept album where you think like this track will follow this track, or maybe we're just not big enough Fleetwood Mac fans to think of things like completely in terms of the album. I think also what's interesting is that I guess it is sort of a super album in their discography. Like the casual fan won't think of much of Fleetwood Mac's like remaining discography, or maybe this is a very UK centric or just me centric thing. Obviously, they had other really good albums as well, like their self-titled one, as well as Tango the Night. But at the same time, like Rumours is just so much bigger than all of their other albums, even combined. I'd say it's probably is it one of the best-selling albums of all time? Probably, right?
It's got to be up there, I think. I know it's like on most of sort of Billboard Hot 100, like top albums of all time, or top albums of the 20th century, or top albums of most things, like it frequently gets very, very high.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, in terms of, you look on Fleetwood Mac, like the top five, okay, like 4 of their top 5 like hits on Spotify as well are like they're from Rumours.
Yeah.
Everywhere being the one that doesn't fit the bill.
I guess they're one of those artists where if you dig deep into their discography, there's going to be stuff that you can find that are really good. Like outside of Rumours, but you have such an overarching, like, massive record. I'm trying to think of other artists that might have that type of aesthetic where they just have like this one huge record. I mean, it's kind of unfair to say to Fleetwood Mac, because I'm sure their other records are very successful. It's just Rumours was just just way further than everything else.
Yeah, exactly. It's all, you almost become a victim of your own success if you have an album that does really, really well, because it's so difficult, because it's like
you're not a one-hit wonder, you're
no, not a one-hit wonder. That's the thing. But like, but at the same time,
wonder.
like to have, it's like a one album wonder almost, where like you have multiple hits on one album. But like, it's difficult, isn't it? Because like if you achieve that level of commercial success, I guess you have like, there are two ways you can go, aren't you? You can either try and top that success and do it again but better, or you can say like, okay, well, I've done that now and I'm going to just do what I want to do now instead. It's kind of like I think of it like Graceland by Paul Simon, I guess, is a good example. Like, I think if you mention Paul Simon to most people, like outside of Simon and Garfunkel, most people would say, okay, well, You Can Call Me Out is kind of like, the big song from Graceland. And that was obviously his commercially, like, his best selling album as well. But he said, like, after that, once he'd done that, he was like, well, I don't necessarily need to try and be commercially successful anymore. Like, I've had my big, and I mean, he did it twice, obviously, with Simon and Garfunkel as well. It was massively commercially successful. But he went sort of just offered to do his own thing instead, and it was critically well reviewed, but it didn't have the same commercial success as Graceland did. And I guess it's the same with Fleetwood Mac as well, that like Eponymous, for example, wasn't as commercially successful as Rumours. Nothing was as successful as Rumours. And so you almost become a victim of your own success, that you like, it's so good that you can't top it almost.
Yeah. And I guess it's also rare that you have just like one like album that worked, you know, that like the full album worked and all the pieces came together right for this one moment in time. But then I mean those artists may have one really good record, but they have like maybe other successful singles as well, or like a bigger catalog. And they think of that way. But when you think of Fleetwood Mac, you think of Rumours. It's like that's like they're like it just defines everything, Whereas even if you have Michael Jackson, then obviously Thriller's sold way better than all of his other albums, just in terms of units sold, whatever. However you think of that metric, but he's not just defined by Thriller, he's defined by everything else.
Precisely.
And I'm just trying to think of other artists that even have that, but maybe Fleetwood Mac is sort of quite unique to that.
I think I mean, I know it's a lot later on, but I would argue that Maroon 5 had something like that with Songs About Jane.
Well, it's
I know
different.
I know they've moved on and they have a lot more commercial success, but like again, maybe it's just to me, but like so many of their classic hits were on that one album.
They've changed a lot. It's like they've kind of I feel like the aims of the albums at later stages are different, and I think they're sort of classics to different people. Although I feel like most Maroon 5 fans will be a fan of Songs About Jane, even if you're just a fan of 5, like the newest album, or whatever the other album was. I don't even know.
I feel like those songs got their way into sort of whether it's like the cultural fabric of the early 2000s, like more than say Sugar got into the cultural fabric of the 2010s, like to me at least. I guess Moves Like Jagger, it was a very big song, but it wasn't like on an album in the same way, because like on Songs About Jane you have like She Will Be Loved, you have Sunday Morning, you have Harder to Breathe, you have This Love, you have there's another one as well of like the absolute classics. This is, but you have like on one album you have 4 like classic tracks, whereas like I would like it's harder to do that, I think, now. So they don't have that like as much on the later albums. I think like you have your single that you release, and then you have like other things that almost fill the space in that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess it did really work as a full album in that way. compared
Yeah.
to the records. But yeah, it's hard to think. Anyway, Rumours. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Um,
What would you say, what is your, what's your memory of Rumours? Sort of like, what's your experience of the album?
I mean, it definitely came via like my parents and sort of older generations listening to the album, and even like knowing that, like just googling it and realizing that it's it's like loads of people just love the album so much. But yeah, I guess it's just another one of those albums that just gets passed on. I think it's quite interesting to think about. I guess it sort of has its just a sort of own word of mouth legacy to it. I mean, I don't know if younger generations will be getting into sort of Fleetwood Mac and trying to. I mean, it's not going to be a viral TikTok hit anytime soon.
Yeah.
Although very much speaking through the lens of current 2020 trends. But
I guess, like, as you said, the fact that Dreams has 400 million hits on, streams on Spotify, like, is a testament to sort of how it's aged over the years. Because, like, either it has been passed down to people, to younger generations who do stream it, and it's been streamed 400 million times, or it's that much of a hit that, like, older generations have sought it out on Spotify as well, and they've found it 400 million times. I think it's definitely, like, it has such it's like it's gotten to the point where it's kind of it's a classic album. It's sort of one of those things that, like, it's so synonymous with sort of pop music and releases and stuff. It's sort of one of those things you almost can't really escape.
yeah, I guess so. Like, people will keep bringing it up for quite a while.
Yeah, like, in one way or another, like it finds its way into, like, various, like there's not, like, a wedding that I've played where, like, Everywhere hasn't been requested at some point, or it hasn't come on, and there's not sort of like various gigs that I've played where, like, I haven't thought about covering, like, various Fleetwood Mac songs. So like it's like the music just it's gone so deep into the sort of cultural fabric of things that it's almost like there's no escaping away from it now.
Yeah. Do you think it almost becomes like does it stand up to its reputation? Will it stand up to its reputation over time? I mean, as if you like the album, you're gonna say yes, but, like, is it almost like, I guess it's an album that has been able to do that, whereas if an album sells like loads but never ever lives up to its quality, it just sells loads at the time, then I guess that's the way it stands up to the test of time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, it is a weird one because, like, I think, yeah, like, the songs are absolutely fantastic on it, but it's kind of like it has got that weird sort of, like, I feel like it does get massively hyped up, and, like, I think there is a day you can definitely overhype it, like, and I think you do have to be, like, in the right sort of phase of your musical understanding of your life to kind of, like, get the meaning of some of the songs or the deeper parts of it, like, so because of everything that was going on with the various relationships of, like, the McVies divorcing during the recording process, and Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks kind of, like, being on and off, and the whole, like, coming together, like, just to produce the music, and then it's sort of, like, coming away again.
Yeah, it's like the stars sort of aligned, and then they sort of never come back again. It's like with Talking Heads or the Beatles, like, those relationships have turned sour in later years, due to various things, but the art came together at that moment in time,
Yeah, exactly. I guess maybe that sort of it adds something to it, that, like, it kind of the music they were making was so important, to them, and they had so much faith in the music itself that they were willing to put aside, horrible differences, to come together to record it.
Yeah, I guess you have to know the context to do that, but maybe if you do know the context, then it maybe adds a little special, like, impetus, like listening to Talking Heads, knowing that the band members hate each other or just cannot get along with each other. It's like, it's almost yeah, it does make it more special, but also kind of sad at the same time, because I guess Fleetwood Mac are still touring, and they're still
Yes, they are.
selling out arenas, and they will keep doing it until they retire. Whereas with Talking Heads, like it would be a miracle if they ever tour together again.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess it's amazing that they're all still around as well in this day and age. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
I think like maybe that does give credence to the whole thing about it, like it living up to the hype or not. I think the fact that you can appreciate it musically by itself, like musically they are fantastic songs. As you said, they're a ridiculously tight band. The guitar playing is amazing, the drumming is fantastic, and the harmonies are really, really innovative and are used to great effect as well. And the fact that you have multiple singers in the band that are singing lead, so it's not sort of like you haven't got this one person who's kind of leading the rest of the band. Like it is very much a band experience, which is quite unique. Like you can appreciate it on a musical level, but then I think the fact that the fact that they were obviously all in less than adequate circumstances and in quite dark places, you could say, the fact that they brought that all together and sort of they were able to put that aside for the sake of the music is I think is like it adds a kind of interest to it as well. And also like that's always the talking point in it as well. I think that's kind of the whole like the context around Rumours is what makes it so interesting. I think the fact that so much was going on behind the scenes with the recording studio, the fact that the press was sort of releasing these inaccurate stories about stuff, or rumors, hence the name of the album. Like that, like the controversy surrounding it almost propels the album into this sort of like extra level of musical significance. I'm sort of it's one of those albums like you record it, you listen to it, and I guess it's just that moment in time thing, and I'm curious to see what significance it will have to me like years down the road, and if it's going to be the same, if it's just going to be another nostalgia piece, or if it's going to, I mean, I'm sure it will, but who knows. In this day and age, I think I think a lot of the like themes and topics discussed, obviously a lot of it's based around relationships and sort of the hardships therein. They're very universal topics and very universal themes, and so I think if you've got something like that where it's like it's not necessarily bound by time, and also I'd argue, I mean maybe less so with some of the songs on it, but like the music isn't really, it's not dated. Like you don't listen to it and go, oh, that's a late 70s album. As you do with other music, like Simon and Garfunkel. Like Simon and Garfunkel, for example, like when I listen to it, you go, "Oh, that's the '60s." It sounds like it's from the '60s, and if you play it now, it has that '60s vibe. Or I think like Everywhere, for example, or to take a song off Rumours, like Go Your Own Way, like it's not kind of like you don't listen to it and go, "Oh, yeah, that's from the 1970s." It has a very sort of timeless sound, and so like the fact that it has like a timeless sound, or like a chronologically ambiguous sound.
Like if you played it to a 10-year-old, they wouldn't think, or a 10-year-old that appreciates music, but a 10-year-old like that doesn't know about eras of music yet, and they might still think it's like vaguely old because it doesn't sound like trap or hip hop or anything, but but you wouldn't, like that album could have been made like last decade.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
like
maybe it'll sound a bit different, but it's like nothing there wasn't achievable at any point in time.
Yeah,
in recorded music.
If it was like if I mean I don't necessarily want to call it folk rock because it's a bit bigger than that, but like if a folk rock band had a song like that today, like you wouldn't be like, oh, that sounds really dated. Like it's very transferable, and I think that combined with like the sort of universal idea of the themes of like of heartbreak and sort of like reconciliation, don't stop thinking about tomorrow, etc., like there's such universal themes and it's such an easy thing to understand that I think, well, I hope at least that like the songs will be remembered for years to come.
Yeah, fair. Anyway, I guess the more of the story is listen to Rumours. It's great.
Have a listen to Rumours. Sure. It's amazing.
I mean, is there anyone listening to this probably hasn't heard any of these songs? That can't be. It's one of those.
I mean, yeah. If you like, let us know if you've never heard a song off Rumours. But if you have listened to Rumours, let us know your favorite song down in the comments and why. and we look forward to hearing about them.
Yeah, I'm talking about more albums. This is fun.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about a few more. We're gonna talk about more albums in future. If you guys would like us to talk about any album in particular that you think we should chat about, let us know. Also in the comments, because we'd like to broaden our musical knowledge about certain things. So giving us an excuse to do a deep dive into anything really would be absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for tuning into Sonic Bytes. If you liked what you heard, drop us a like or follow us on Spotify, Anchor FM, or wherever you get your podcasts, or drop us a comment on YouTube at Leo Kelly G Music, Instagram at Sonic Bytes, or Twitter at Sonic Bytes Pod. More episodes coming very soon. Stay tuned.